All right, folks, we may or may not be live right now on Rumble, so give me a 5-5 if you can hear us. I'm with the champ, Nino Rodriguez, and my name's Louis Herms from Screw Big Gov. So it takes about 15 seconds. So I'm watching chat right now. Let's make sure we got you going, and then we are going to rock and roll. This is going to be a lot of fun, guys. A lot of fun. And, there's going to be some sorrow, too, because we know what day it is. All right, give me a 5-5, guys. If you can hear me, I got a hello all, but that's not addressing us. Hey, Ronnie, I see you in there. Thank you. Give me a thumbs up or a 5-5 so we can get rolling here. We know Rumble has been dirt slow lately. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, she's got us. I'm glad you can see me because I cannot, but I got a bunch of thumbs up, so let's roll. Awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Nino Rodriguez here, the champ. An amazing boxing career, but I love the fact that that's not what he's all about now. But still a fighter, which is wonderful. Again, my name's Louis Herms with Screw Big Gov. We're going to play a song to get you guys so you can pile in here real quick, and then we will get rocking and rolling. This is an old one from Ray Charles. All right, brother, how you doing?
I'm doing great. That's a great video.
Yeah, I think it's we tend to look at one day, Veterans Day, honor the vets, Memorial Day, honor, and I'm in the belief personally that there is a war separate that we can't see going on right now. And if that's true, we have fallen military personnel all the time, but based on this really weird type of war that we're in, this is one of the one times in history that they get no recognition for being, because if they did, if we start putting out those names, what's going to happen? Then everything blows up. So I felt it was a need just to kind of keep people there, and I like to keep people motivated, that because it's we the people that ultimately win this war. We just need to activate to do so.
I agree with you 100%. It's fifth generational warfare, and it's a much different type of war that's being fought right now. I mean, there are parts of it that are kinetic. We know that what's happening with Russia and Ukraine, and we're funding Ukraine and the whole mess that's going on there. That's parts of the war, but this war is so much bigger. It is a spiritual war, and I don't think people realize just how important the digital warrior is these days. Because what's happening is there's so many psyops running alongside each other, and there's so much disinformation, misinformation out there that people don't really know where to go. And a lot of people have been purged, deplatformed, kicked off. So many different sites. We're just trying to stay relevant. So I really want to commend people like you as well that are keeping up with this fight, because it's going to take all of us. This is something that's not one man can do. It's a group effort, and it's going to take all of us to see us through this war. And I think this war is the most important war. It's the most confusing war, and it's going to last the longest out of all the wars. So you got to be really in it to win it if you're doing this, and you got to put your heart and soul into this, which I've done, and I know you're doing. And I'm in it for however long this lasts.
Yeah, I'm the same. I say this is a war where we really need some fortitude and patience, because it sounds funny. It's really easy to get motivated when you see people being slaughtered all over the place. But when you don't see it, and everything is very spiritual, like you say, and informational, and where they're poisoning us slowly. They're just slowly poisoning us and reducing that population. It's hard to keep motivated when you still have Candy Crush on your phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people keep getting distracted daily, and it's hard for them to understand how important it is for we the people to activate. So I'm not one of those guys that believe that we are in control. I believe we are winning, especially now that we the people are activating and they're destroying Bud Light and Target and so on and so forth. but I believe the momentum is going there, but I'm right on the same page with you, man. This is a long drawn out battle and people don't want to hear it, but that's just the reality. It took over 1,000 years to get here. So to think that we can be done with this in 2 years is just ludicrous.
Yeah, if they really were winning this, it feels like we're losing, right? Because you see it all on the mainstream media, and it's just it's agonizing and it's exhausting to endure this.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were really winning, the Bud Light would be flying off the shelves right now.
Right.
People would be buying it in mass. That's not happening, and the latter is happening. In other words, nobody's buying it, and it's just what's happening. I mean, and then what's funny is to see every company follow suit, follow the Bud Light model. So what this should tell people is that this is psychological warfare.
Mm-hmm.
And what they're doing is these big companies are just looking. It's not even about profit anymore. They know that they're going to pull the plug on the dollar. What they're doing now is mentally, psychologically exhausting the American people to where you don't feel like you have a fighting chance anymore. They're just bombarding you with this LGBTQ, this BLM, Antifa, whatever, and pushing you to your very limit. They want to create civil unrest, and they just need to ignite. They're looking at ways to. They don't understand why the Patriots are not fighting back, why they're not igniting some kind of civil unrest or igniting some civil war. They're doing whatever they can to instigate it. There's gasoline. Look at all these companies that are pushing the LGBTQ stuff, going after every our belief system, our moral fiber. They are trying to instigate some kind of response, and they're not getting it. And I'm very proud of our audiences that are not folding into this and not and they're not getting a reaction. So I'm very happy. I feel like we're doing something, because every day I come on my show and say, do not give them that. Do not give them violence. We cannot go down that road. That the globalists have all of this mapped out. They just need that. That's all they need is violence. They need some kind of civil unrest, which I know it's very hard to do, to not respond in that manner. But you got these groups like Patriot Front. If you look at them, it's, from my opinion, it looks like a bunch of feds, marching together, and they're doing their best to just egg on the Patriot and get people pissed off, and we just cannot fall into that. And I'm very proud of our audiences that are not falling into that trap.
Yeah, so am I. So when I always say stand up and fight, my audience is very clear that I mean you fight with your dollar, and you fight with your voice, you fight by writing, you fight digitally. And there's wins all over the place. People just don't see them. I mean, Shasta County, California is one of the greatest examples where they went in and they said, we will not accept the way you're doing business. And they literally ran the board of supervisors out of town. And now Shasta County has people speaking openly in a county, in a board of supervisors meeting about chemtrails and the legitimacy that they're real.
Wow.
So there are wins all over the country, but you're never going to hear them on mainstream media. But if you take your show, my show, maybe Scott's, Mike's, and a couple more, our total volume of viewers a day is more than CNN's average, which is 409,000. So we are the media now. Just because they say they're media, they're not.
Right. You're right.
We truly are.
I'm very proud of that. And this is a information war, because everything that, what's crazy to me is this isn't on YouTube, right? This is, I can say whatever I want here.
No.
Okay.
They don't
so
like
whatever. Okay. I know, man. So like what I was going to say is that, with what's really opened a lot of eyes is that people have now all throughout history, they have controlled the narrative. And for the first time ever, the narrative is crumbling on them and they don't know what to do. They believe me when I tell you this is huge because they're losing. Now, you know as well as I do, Lewis, that everything was upset when they lost against Hillary. Mm-hmm. That's what upset the apple cart. Now we're in the game. Now we're in the fight. they're like 5.5 years, almost 6 years behind schedule. They're behind the ball, but they're so arrogant and so overconfident that they don't care. They're still going to keep moving forward. And that's how we're going to beat them, is by us playing chess, they're playing checkers. And this is how we're going to beat them, because evil only knows how to go forward. They only know how to push their ideologies and mission onto other people. And they've done it in the dark for so long. This is the first time that I know in recent humanity, in humanity, in history, that they're doing this in the light,
right,
where everyone's watching. And there's enough of us awake now that we're looking at their every move and going, you're looking even more desperate. You're looking even more evil. We understand what you're doing now. Everything they're doing now is in the open.
Yeah, so I don't pretend to know what's going on, so I look at markers, right? And so either one of two things are going on, and it's very clear. Either the white hats are making these idiots make really bad decisions to expose them, or like you're saying, they are backed up into a corner like a lioness protecting their cubs, and their cubs are their evil agenda, right? So they're scratching and clawing and doing everything they can right now. I understand warfare. You only act like that when you're losing. You do not act like that when you're winning. You're
100%.
very patient. You're very methodical. You stick to the plan. They only act like that because they're getting their ass kicked, or maybe the white hats are telling them to do that. Let's take that aside and let's just go with optics and warfare. This is not the behavior of somebody that's winning. This is the behavior of people that are losing.
Well, look who's patient right now. Who's the one that looks calm and collected? Trump. Trump is the one that looks very calm, very collected. He's golfing. He knows this has to play its course. It has to run its course. The man does not look disturbed at all.
Nope.
And he's very cool, calm, and collected. And we should understand, everyone should take note of that, because the ones that don't look that way are the deep state actors. They're the rhinos, the Democrats. They're the ones that look worried.
That's right.
And I know it sucks for us, because we are being held hostage on this plane that we feel is going down. But I believe there's safeties in place with all the interviews I've done and the people I've talked to and the research I've done, that I know that it has to go in this direction in order to get turned around. But the public has to wake up. And I think they're really waking up quite fast now, because I've had friends that I've looked at as just complete, normies. I no hope for them, that are now calling me going like, I can't believe this. What's going on? And it's like, well, welcome to the dance. Finally you're here, but it's a little late. But it's, for me, I mean, I'm so far ahead of them. I try to explain certain things to them, but it really is, this process is the awakening process, is what I call it.
Yeah, it is. And it's very interesting. So there's even higher political levels that don't know what's going on.
No.
Because this is a very interesting, I call it a Freemasonic, very compartmentalized system that they have. So they'll use things. So I have a guy, I'm not going to say his name, but I'm really close to him. He's been at city council and mayor for over 30 years in the town where I'm at. That's a long, long time. Very well respected. He knew nothing, Nino. Nothing. He knows nothing about. He's not even pretending not to know. He just, because what they've done, and this is the way the Masonic agenda is they position him as the good guy in the light, doing the white. He's doing all the good things, right? And they're underneath, they're constantly undermining him. And he just now figured it out with a very interesting thing. Is about a year ago, we were at a lunch, and he's like, I just don't understand what's going on. And I said, Mike, it's a level that you just can't imagine. And he's like, how would you know, Lewis? He goes, I've been in politics 30 years. I go, because this is not politics in the least bit. And so what I did is I explained to him what's really going on in Ukraine. This is almost a year ago. And I said, here's what's really going on. This is a proxy war. There's something called the Khazarian Mafia. I explained all of that to him, right? And he just couldn't believe it. And then I told him to do some research, and he sent me a picture. And he sent me the picture of Ukraine's on a tank holding the Khazarian mafia flag.
Mm.
And he says, is this what you're talking about? I go, now we can have conversations. So he's constantly calling me every time I'm in town. Let's talk. And he's waking up in full. He now has dug in and he found out that Soros and Black Lives Matter funded an election, city council in our city and against him. But he had to figure that out. And the way he figured out is because now he's awakened instead of in disbelief. It's very interesting how they've done such a great job at propagandizing us that we don't even believe it. But now every day people are waking up. When I hear nobody's waking up, I'm just like, it's not even true.
You know, it's because a lot of people are still living within that old paradigm, and it's, you know, that old saying, bread and circus. A lot of people are still watching the Kardashians. They're still they're like in this hypnotic trance on their cell phones with Instagram and TikTok, especially the youth. I'm going to say this. I do believe that we are in serious trouble when it comes to our youth, because from what I'm looking at, I call it Generation Doomed, by the way, Generation Z. I think if we don't do this now, with people like us or a little older, even, you know, from the range of like 35 up, the next generation is done. They're doomed. They got this in the bag. And why they couldn't, I guess what I want to say is why they couldn't wait just another generation to put this in full gear is beyond me. But I know they're on some kind of a cult timeline. But if we don't do this now with people our age, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We're the ones that need to save humanity, and we have to do this together, because the younger generation is, man, and it's not to their fault. It's really not their fault.
No, it just means MK Ultra worked.
Exactly. They're just a product of the fruition of their work. Right. And that's where we're at. So, and at least we know we have that point of reference where we can look back and we know what the world was like in the 80s and 90s and some of us 70s, 60s, whatever, pre-internet. And we know what happened post-internet. We know what happened 9/11, 2001, and how the world started drastically changing to this police state, you know, and to this new world, going right towards a new world order. We know it. We know what life used to be like. They don't. They were born into this. So it's our job, I feel, to really, we have to put this on. We got to put up our big boy pants, and we got to, as a collective, save humanity, because I don't believe this younger generation. There's exceptions to the rule, right? Some people will say, well, my kid. Okay, there's exceptions as well, but I'm talking as a whole. No. No. You know, these kids are socialists at heart. A lot of them, they go to school, they go to universities, and they get programmed. MK Ultra. And we have a big problem. In fact, the biggest problem we're going to have, the biggest task we're going to have is, once this is turned around, because I know it's going to get turned around. Once the pendulum swings this way, it's about how far right is that pendulum going to go? Mm-hmm. And what are we going to do with the youth then? How are we going to start trying to instill the morals and the moral fabric and stitch up that moral fabric and teach them the principles of the Constitution? What is the Constitution? How we got to start re-educating them on the values of America. That, I think, is going to be a task.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a task. That is when the rewriting of history the proper way, I think, can really have a nice effect. In fact, I'm going to be hopefully doing a series in the future where, you know, telling the true stories, not the stories that they want us to hear about. If there is some form of EBS and they're explaining things, that can help. But the reality is it's going to have to be disclosures, because you're going to, and I hate to say this, is one of the best, most powerful things to do if when people grow is they break down in order to break through.
Yeah.
And I know you've went through that in your
life,
yeah. Right. So they're going to have to break down, and that's going to be through disclosures and showing them that everything that you believe is literally upside down from what the reality is. That is the only chance we have. I have hope, because you know what we have now we have some amazing teachers, and they're waking up daily, and they have a special integrity. In fact, this is going to be a good segue. I wanted to ask you this, or talked about this publicly with you. So I met you, most people don't know this, for probably 2-3 minutes. That's it. You were in the green room. You were going to go on stage at an event that we were at, and everybody wanted to talk to you about God knows what, but your focus at the time was on your parents. I mean, like, you saw it in your eyes. If I'm not giving away too much, but you were welling up. You're very emotional, but you were still like, okay, I'm going to have to do this. I made a commitment, so I'm going to go on stage for my 20 minutes or whatever it was. But your head was with your parents. And the reason why I want to mention that is, to me, there was this icon of Nino that I knew about, right? But when I saw that in your eyes, I said, okay, now this cat's a good person. This dude's a family man, and this is where his soul is. Can you talk about that? Because I think it's very inspirational for other people to understand that while we're fighting so much, why sometimes, and I'm guessing yours has a lot to do with your family.
Well, first off, I started off as a fighter. Like, I started boxing at 5 years old. So I was always putting myself out there in front of the public, in front of, big crowds, fighting, and thousands of people in the arenas and things like that. And that was my adrenaline dump. So that was my stimulation fix, was boxing. And every time you go into the ring, especially heavyweight boxing, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you train for the best outcome. You're confident, but you go in there and you're putting your health and your life on the line, your reputation, everything. And it's the ultimate humility. And growing up boxing, I've been humiliated a few times. I've lost some amateur fights. I've been knocked out, things like that. And that's really ultimate humility, especially when it's in front of large masses of people, and I've won really big more times than I've lost. So I'm grateful for that. But, towards the end of my career, I was like 36-0 and unbeaten, unblemished, and going off in my life, and boom, blowing up. And then I was left there to pick up all the pieces and try to make sense of it again. But I found the easiest thing to do was just walk away and create a new life, which I did. I left the pieces there. I didn't even attempt to clean them up. I just left them there. I quit drinking, 3.5 years sober now. And I just decided that my life needed new meaning. None of what I'm doing right now with the podcast or any of this was ever planned. I didn't look for it. I didn't try to do it. It just kind of fell on my lap after a video I made that surfaced that went viral. That was an accident. That was not planned. None of that was planned. There are people in the Patriot movement now that I'm seeing. I'm not going to say names, but I'm kind of like, what are they in this for? Mm-hmm. Me personally, I love this country. I'm like immersed in this. Like, I'm a fighter, and I know what's happening. And I'm fighting till the end. But there's certain personalities I see getting into this movement that I'm like, what really are you doing here, man? Like, what do it's like personal gain. That's maybe how I was in boxing. Not even that. I would have to say not even then, because I was always very spiritual. I always make the sign of the cross when I got in the ring. I would always pray. I always give everything to God, and then just went out there and fought, did my best. But now I just don't have the ego anymore. I'm 45 years old. I'm getting older. I've lived that life. I had that little 15 minutes of fame, signing autographs when I got out of the ring, the women, the whole thing. That's gone now. I don't know what this YouTube thing is. I don't know what really. I just want to save our country, man. I just want to fight and be a part of this war. It's important. And I want to leave a better place for my kids, my grandkids, and future generations. I've had my fun. I'm done. I care about my mom, my dad. I want to live their last years. I want to give them the best life I can by being with them, and just be with my family, man. And that's it. And the rest will take care of itself. I'm not looking for fame. I don't even go to events. And when I go out, and you know this, and a lot of people know this, I'll show up to an event, shake some hands, and leave. I don't like to be there. I like my peace. Peace is the most sacred and valuable thing to me now. I don't look for anything. I'm not trying to do anything. I just want to be left alone, and I want my peace. And if I have to go meet some people and shake their hands, I'll do that. But I am not looking for the limelight. I do just fine with my little YouTube channel. I do my little thing every day. That's my contribution to humanity, and I end it there.
Well, I think it's important that, okay, I'm not going to bring anybody up anyways, but you touch a nerve when you're talking about some other truthers, because it's very evident to me that people are not in here for the right reasons. And it's very, very frustrating to me. And I've been very public about it, although I won't call anybody out by name. I give markers or what to look for, and people start to figure it out. Great example is, so many made a platform grow because they talked about human trafficking, but now they've abandoned the message completely, as if it's taboo or something.
Well, that's another thing. Sound of Freedom. That's coming out July 4th. People need to go see that.
Yeah. In fact, my documentary is a precursor to that. So Cages will be out within a week. I've been working on it for a long time, and we're in final edits. And then, people need to Sound of Freedom. And regardless of what you think about Tim Ballard or Underground Railroad, there may be some meat on the bones. Doesn't matter. If that alone, the purpose of that is to wake up the normies. That's what's important. So I put anything that you may have aside about who the players are in that. Just remember, it's about waking up the normies. And that's what's so important right now, is that we need to put things out. So a lot of times I dummy down my message now on purpose, so I'm not driving people away with some esoteric type of talk. So I'm trying to talk to the normies and attract more people that we could wake up. That's why my message right now is, we need to work on the micro, and the micro fixes the macro. And what that means is within your communities.
Right. And they add up to pieces, and then that becomes a macro.
Exactly right. That'll be the foundation. And which is really, really big time. Hey, I know it's about time for you to go. So why don't you leave us with whatever you want to leave us with?
Yeah, I would just like to say, it's going to take all of us. The whole Q movement, the whole Patriot movement is each and every one of us. And that's where it starts grassroots, and just like you said earlier, eat the beat, throw away the bones. Okay, there's personalities out there that we may look at and go, oh gosh, they're in it just for clickbait, or they're in it for whatever. Eat the meat, throw away the bones, folks. Mm-hmm. Take the good out of them and discard the rest if you have to. But I think that, and I believe that, we're all contributing something. Every single one of us is contributing something. So just take that something and leave the rest. Everybody has dirt on them. I am not a perfect person at all. I never even claimed to be. I tell everybody, man, I was into drugs, women. I was doing it all, and that was my life, for so long. And I don't claim to be a savior. I don't claim to be a role model. I'm just a person that willingly and consciously turned his life around. I've always been a follower of Christ. So that's why it wasn't like I found Christ. I've always been a follower of Christ, but I had to change my ways. And that's what I'm doing now. And each and every one of us can make a difference. You have your cell phone. You have representatives that you can contact. You can make your voice heard. We all can do this. Even if you just reach one person, that's one more person that you are not reaching. So even if you could just reach one person, that's still one person more than you weren't reaching. So we all could do this. We all need to do this. The time is now. Violence is not the answer, but making productive changes is, and reaching out in your community. And you know what I say to people also? You know what I did? Can I just say something?
Please.
Let me add on to this. El Paso is ground zero for the immigration, right? Everyone's coming through here, and they're given like instant citizenship, and they're just being bussed out and then bussed to the airport and flown out to your cities. But the thing is this, I decided that I wanted to go down there downtown to see where all the immigrants were, and I wanted to get a reading. I went down there and I talked to a lot of the immigrants. A lot of them are good people, man. A lot of them are just good people looking for an ends to a means to an end. They're really just trying to get a better life. Now, of course, there's some that are coming here that are really bad. There's military age men that are looking to cause problems. That are probably cells that are going to be activated. But on a whole, I've always found if something scares me or there's something unknown, I go and I find out for myself. So I urge people, take your cameras, go to places where you think migrants are going or whatever, and get involved. See what's going on there. Don't be scared of anything. Right now is not the time to be scared of anything. God anointed us to slay the demons. We are here to slay the demons. They should be scared of us. That's the truth. That's the real truth, is that they should be scared of us. We are here to slay them. God anointed us like Michael to slay these demons. And I firmly believe in that. And if something scares you or something doesn't sit right with you, go find out about it. Bring your phone, record it, see what's going on. We are the news now. All of us, not me, not Lewis, all of us. We are all the news. And that's how we take down MSM. That is exactly how we take down MSM. We need to multiply. And so I'll leave with that and just say, if something really scares you, space it down, stare it down, and go check it out for yourself. That's what I did, and that's what I do. And I'm not scared of it anymore. So that's the only little bit of advice I can give to people, and that's the best advice I can give to people.
No, I love it. That's a powerful message, and we the people hold all the power.
Yeah,
we just need to realize it. We literally hold all the power, all of it. Yeah. And if we stand up in force,
that's what they're scared of.
I know.
And what's happening with us?
It takes a very small percentage too. People think that we need 60% of people to, no, you need like 1/10 of 1% of people to stand up, go to your city council meetings or your board of supervisors or your school boards. They can't handle it. They cannot handle the pressure. Virtually every time with pinpointed force, they cave because they know we have all the power. And plus we have God behind us, and that's something that has to be said.
Right. What do you think demons do when they see a righteous person? They tremble. These people are, I'm going to say this and it's going to sound really bad, but no, it's not. Forget it. They're demon possessed. These people that are wanting drag queen story hour for children, you are not to touch the children. That is off the table. That is off limits.
Right.
You know, and they know when we approach them and we say, we do not want this in our schools, they tremble because deep down they know, no matter how liberal they are, that it's wrong. You just have to make your voice heard and you got to make a stand. And no matter how scared you are, your knees could be shaking, you could be trembling, God is with you. And that is the most powerful message I can leave today.
That is beautiful. Well, let's leave it on that. Folks, we really appreciate your time. It's more than Memorial Day. Every day, can we remember the fallen? Let's fight for those that are to come, our wonderful children. God bless everybody. We appreciate you. I appreciate you, Nino. Thank you very much for being on here today. This will take about 10 seconds, 15 seconds before it clears. And then I'll have a minute with you. And then I know you got to go work out, which is going to motivate me too.
Yeah, man, get on it.
I know. So let's see. I'll let you know when it clears online here. It used to be 30 seconds. They've gotten it down to about 10, 12 seconds now, finally. Let's see.